Your child still lives in your house. They still sit at your dinner table. They still answer when you call their name. They may even hug you before bed. But none of those things guarantee that they trust you. Because trust doesn't disappear all at once. It rarely happens after one argument, one punishment, one mistake. Instead, it fades quietly. A child shares something important and feels dismissed. A promise gets broken. A feeling gets ignored. A secret gets repeated. And little by little, a wall begins to form. The scary part? Most parents never see it happening. They assume everything is fine until one day they realize their child no longer comes to them with problems, fears, dreams, or struggles. And by then, the distance feels enormous. Today, we're uncovering 7 reasons children slowly lose trust in their parents. And more importantly, how that trust can be rebuilt. Stay with me, because reason number 3 is a mistake millions of loving parents make every day without realizing it. And reason number 1 destroys trust faster than all the others combined. Let's begin. Reason number 7, they don't feel heard. Trust often begins to break in moments that seem completely ordinary. Your child comes home from school upset. Maybe a friend ignored them. Maybe they were embarrassed in class. Maybe they're worried about something that feels huge to them. They finally gather the courage to tell you. And before they've even finished speaking, you jump in. You'll be okay. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. You mean well. You want to comfort them. You want to solve the problem. But your child hears something very different. They hear, my feelings aren't important. Imagine being excited to tell someone a story, only to have them look away halfway through. That's what emotional dismissal feels like to a child. Children don't need parents who have all the answers. They need parents who are willing to listen long enough to understand the question. And here's what many parents miss. Sometimes your child isn't looking for a solution. They're looking for connection. The simple response, that sounds really hard. I'm glad you told me. Tell me more. Can do more to build trust than the perfect piece of advice ever could. Because people trust those who make them feel understood. And children are no different. Reason number 6, you're physically present, but mentally absent. Modern parents face a challenge no generation has faced before: constant distraction. Your child is talking. Your phone buzzes. You glance down for a second. Then another. Then another. To you, it seems harmless. To your child, it feels different. Picture a little girl running into the room holding a drawing she spent an hour creating. She smiles and says, "Mom, look what I made." Without looking up fully, Mom says, "That's nice, sweetheart." The child slowly lowers the paper. The excitement disappears, not because her drawing wasn't good, but because it didn't feel important. Children don't measure love the way adults do. They measure it through attention, not expensive gifts, not elaborate vacations. Attention. The message they're constantly asking is, do I matter enough for you to focus on me right now? When the answer repeatedly feels like no, trust begins to weaken, because attention is one of the purest forms of love. And when children stop seeking attention from parents, they often begin searching for it somewhere else. Reason number 5, your words don't match your actions. Trust is built when words and actions agree, and broken when they don't. Maybe you promised to attend a school event. Maybe you promised to spend time together on Saturday. Maybe you said, "We'll talk about this later," and later never came. Life happens. Emergencies happen. Children understand that. What damages trust isn't a single disappointment. It's a pattern. Imagine a boy standing on a stage before a school performance. He scans the audience. He sees parents waving, families smiling. He keeps looking toward the entrance, waiting, hoping. The show starts. The seat remains empty. The disappointment isn't just about that event. It's about what the empty seat represents. Children are constantly asking, "Can I rely on you?" Every kept promise answers yes. Every broken promise raises doubt. Trust doesn't grow from grand gestures. It grows from consistency. The small promises, The ordinary moments, the things you said you would do and actually did. Reason number 4, using fear instead of connection. When children make mistakes, fear can seem effective. Yelling works. Threats work. Harsh punishments often produce immediate obedience. But obedience and trust are not the same thing. A child who fears punishment learns something very specific. When I make mistakes, I should hide them. So instead of admitting they broke something, they lie. Instead of asking for help, they stay silent. Instead of coming to you when they're struggling, they handle it alone. Not because they don't need you, because they're afraid of your reaction. The safest homes are not the homes where children never make mistakes. They're the homes where children know mistakes can be discussed honestly. Discipline matters. Boundaries matter. Consequences matter. But children should fear the consequence, not the parent. The goal isn't raising children who are afraid of you. The goal is raising children who trust you enough to tell the truth, even when they're scared. Because trust grows when children know, I can come to you with my worst mistake and still be loved. Reason number 3, invalidating their feelings. This is one of the most common trust-destroying habits in parenting, and it often sounds completely harmless. You're overreacting. It's not that serious. Stop being so sensitive. Other kids have it worse. Parents usually say these things because they're trying to help. They're trying to give perspective. They're trying to build resilience. But children hear something else. They hear, what you feel is wrong. Psychologists have long observed that when children's emotions are repeatedly dismissed, they often stop expressing those emotions openly. Not because the feelings disappear, because they learn it's safer to keep them hidden. Think about that for a moment. The sadness is still there. The fear is still there. The anxiety is still there. The child simply learns not to share it with you. And that's where trust begins to fracture. A child who repeatedly hears that their emotions are invalid starts questioning themselves. Maybe I'm too emotional. Maybe I'm being dramatic. Maybe my feelings don't matter.
Healthy emotional development doesn't come from denying feelings. It comes from learning how to understand and manage them. Instead of saying, stop crying, try, I can see you're upset. Instead of, you're overreacting, try, help me understand what's bothering you. Validation doesn't mean agreement. It means acknowledging that the feeling exists. And that simple shift can transform a relationship. Reason number 2, betraying their confidence. Few things damage trust faster than broken confidentiality. Your child tells you something personal, a fear, a crush, an insecurity, an embarrassing mistake, something they were nervous to share. And later, you mention it at a family gathering. Maybe everyone laughs. Maybe you thought it was harmless. Maybe you thought they wouldn't mind. But they do. Because to them, that conversation was sacred. The moment private information becomes public, something changes. The child learns a painful lesson. My secrets aren't safe here. And once that belief takes root, they become more careful, more guarded, more silent. The next time they have something important to share, they hesitate. Then they decide not to. Trust thrives in safety. Children need to know that their vulnerable moments will be protected, not displayed. The things they share with you are gifts. Handle them with care. Because once confidentiality is broken, rebuilding that trust takes far longer than breaking it. Reason number 1. You don't practice what you preach. This is the most powerful trust killer of all, because children watch far more than they listen. You tell them to be honest, then they hear you tell a lie on the phone. You tell them to apologize, then they watch you refuse to admit you're wrong. You tell them to be respectful, then they hear you speak harshly about someone behind their back. Children are always studying, always observing, always learning, and they learn most from what you do, not what you say. One parenting expert put it this way: Children are excellent observers and poor listeners. Whether or not that's entirely true, the message is powerful. Your example becomes their lesson. When your actions consistently contradict your words, trust begins to collapse because credibility disappears. But when children see you admit mistakes, keep promises, speak honestly, treat others with kindness, they believe your guidance carries weight.
Not because you're perfect, because you're authentic. And authenticity is the foundation of trust. However, if some of these reasons felt familiar, don't panic. Every parent gets things wrong. Every parent has moments they wish they could take back. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is repair. And here's the encouraging truth. Trust can be rebuilt. Not overnight, not through one emotional conversation, but through hundreds of small moments. Listen before solving. Keep the promises you make. Protect their privacy. Put the phone down when they're talking. Apologize when you're wrong. And perhaps most importantly, become the example you hope they follow. Remember this, trust is lost in drops and rebuilt in drops. A little today, a little tomorrow, a little the next day, until one day your child comes to you with something important, not because they have to, but because they want to. And that's when you'll know trust is growing again. Because children don't need perfect parents. They need safe parents. Parents who are present. Parents who are honest. Parents who keep showing up. Years from now, your child may forget many of the rules you gave them. They may forget countless conversations. But they'll remember how they felt around you. They'll remember whether home felt like the safest place in the world to be themselves. And that feeling is what trust is built on. Which of these 7 reasons surprised you the most? Was there one that reminded you of your own childhood, or one you recognized in your parenting journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience could help another parent feel less alone today. If you found value in this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more parenting psychology content every week.